Alright, here we go. Intergalactic Brew, the dude, bringing you the second, I should say, NFC wildcard playoff matchup that will be happening later on this Saturday evening at 4:30. The Seattle Seahawks versus the New Orleans Saints. This is going to be a very tough test for the seemingly terrible Seattle Seahawks, facing against the self-proclaimed Super Bowl world champions, New Orleans Saints. And yes, I did say self-proclaimed, because the way they've been playing this year, they've been looking far from champions. Trust me. Yeah, they might have beat my Atlanta Falcons in our dome, but I mean, hey, you know, that was a close game. That game could have went either way. And besides, they just won by 3 points. So what does that prove? I could see if it was a domination, but it wasn't a domination. They won by 3. So that's just barely winning. They just won by the skin of their teeth. You know what I'm saying? Saints fans, sorry. That's just the way it is. Hate to break it to you. But anyway, on to a more important subject. This game here could have all the makings of one of the most shocking upsets in NFL playoff history. And the reason why is because the New Orleans Saints are coming into this game, or these playoffs period, a wounded team. They don't have their best running backs in the lineup. Chris Ivory, who's supposed to be one of their best rookie running backs this year, he's out. Pierre Thomas, he's out. Reggie Bush looks like he's going to be out. So it seems like the only 2 guys that they're going to have is maybe their next 2 last running backs in their roster, which I doubt will be able to handle the pressure of a game in this magnitude, being that probably both of these guys who are going to fill in for potentially Thomas or Bush have little to no experience. Now, I'm not doubting them or trying to insult their talent or saying what they can't do. I mean, I'm just saying, if you haven't gotten any PT for most of the season, how do you expect to turn it on in the playoffs? And you've been riding the bench this whole time. It's no possible way. But I mean, hey, in the NFL, anything can happen. So I could be wrong. But be that as it may, the New Orleans Saints are coming into this playoffs injured. They don't have their best running back, and Drew Brees is going to have to find some way to carry this team figuratively on to the next round in the playoffs. Now, logically, you would say there's no way that could happen. But then again, the New Orleans Saints, they're a good team. They're the world champs, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to find a way to somehow get it done. Now, as far as the offense is concerned for the Saints, Drew Brees is going to basically have to pass the ball the whole game. He's going to have to basically throw his way to a victory in this game. And like I heard Skip Bayless say earlier today on First Take, Drew Brees is going to have a throwing party, or throw a party, or whatever he said. And it's going to be an uphill battle for Drew Brees. I mean, sure, you would think that this game is going to be a cakewalk for the Saints. You would think that this game is going to be a runaway, that the Seahawks won't even have a chance. But I guarantee you this, though, the Seahawks are going to look to take advantage of those wounded quarterbacks and those inexperienced quarterbacks. Running backs. I do not know why I keep saying quarterbacks. Man, I got quarterback on my mind. I got to get focused, y'all. I got to keep it intact. I got to keep it tight. Got to keep it tight. But like I said, I think the Seahawks are going to try and take advantage of the Saints' offense being wounded. By them not having their two best running backs in Thomas and Bush, I do believe that the Seahawks are going to try and just molest Drew Brees this whole game. And, give the Saints defense credit. They may not be up to that same standard they were last season when they went on that run all the way to the championship and the Super Bowl, but they still have the capability of giving you problems. They could still force turnovers. They're a very opportunistic defense, so you have to be razor sharp when you face them. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself losing yardage and possibly the football game as well. So, with that being said, the Seahawks, they're going to look to take advantage of the opportunities given to them, particularly on defense. But on offense, at the same time, while you don't have Thomas and Bush, you still have to worry about guys like Marcus Colston and Lance Moore and Robert Meacham. Because those guys, they still make plays, they're clutch, and I know Drew Brees is going to go to them a lot in this game. Possibly help them have the biggest game they probably ever had. Who knows? But in all, Drew Brees is going to have to carry this game on his shoulders and get this team out of the first round, as wounded as they are. Can they do it? Yes, they can. But the question is, how are they going to do it? With a half-healthy offensive line, I just don't know, man. We'll just have to see. But as far as the Seahawks are concerned, Matt Hasselbeck, I hear, is 100%, and he will be playing this Saturday night. How is he going to be able to get around the defense of the Saints? Because, like I just said just now, even though the Saints defense may not play on the same level that they did last year, they still have the capability of causing turnovers and changing the momentum of the game. So, I say that whoever their star running back is, I'm not too familiar with them, and that's no disrespect to the Seahawks offensive line, but I'm just not too familiar with this team. But whoever their star running back is, it's, I forget, some guy named Lynch or some dude named Washington. Whoever they are, they're going to have to come up big in this game, because I believe that's probably the only chance, besides a prayer, that the Seahawks are going to have if they want to upset the New Orleans Saints. They're going to have to run the ball effectively, and they're just going to have to, find a way to pound the ball on this New Orleans defense. There's not really much to say. The running game is going to have to be the one weapon that the Seahawks are going to have to use in this game if they want to win. Now, they do have an advantage because their crowd will be behind them, and they're going to be cheering their lungs out throughout this whole game. I doubt anyone in that crowd will be sitting down, especially when you have an opponent the caliber of the New Orleans Saints. So they do have the crowd on their side, but at the same time, they're still playing against a high-level opponent, and they still have to go out and win the game despite the crowd. So the question is, can they channel that energy and that boost from the crowd into their play? That'll be interesting to see. And how will Matt Castle fare against a very dominant defense, or you could say semi-dominant defense in the New Orleans Saints? So it'll be interesting. I doubt that even if the Seahawks do run the ball on New Orleans, I doubt that they'll be able to score. They probably might get some good yards. Probably might even get themselves in field goal range to kick field goals, but I doubt that they'll be able to score on the New Orleans defense. Because as we saw in the Atlanta game, or as we've seen in the Atlanta game, I should say, the defense was so good that they even had Michael Turner make his first fumble ever in his career in a game. So if they did that, imagine what they'll do to this seemingly weak offense, I guess, of the Seahawks. I'm not calling them weak, but I'm just saying, that's what everybody's labeling them, as weak. Like, there's just no way that they're just going to be able to work their way around the Seahawks, or the Saints, I should say, defense. But we'll see, because like I said, the Seahawks do have the advantage here, or somewhat of an advantage, because they are playing at home, and they are going to have their crowd behind them. So it'll just be interesting to see, how that comes into play with this game. Now, as far as my prediction is concerned, I mean, the logical thing would say, yeah, New Orleans is gonna win this game easily. Like, they're not gonna probably even break a sweat. Like, Drew Brees is just gonna be throwing hot balls out the rear in this game. But like I said, man, New Orleans is a wounded team, and that has a very big effect, especially as good of an offense as they have. That comes into effect when you don't have all of your players healthy. And these two guys apparently that are going to be filling in for Reggie Bush and Pierre Thomas, I don't know how they're going to fare. I mean, I'm not saying that the Seahawks offense is just ultra good to the point where they'll just be able to pass the ball on the Saints with no problem. But I mean, I'm just saying, or I should say, did I say pass the ball on the Saints? I meant to say to get to Drew Brees easily. I'm not saying that, but it's just the fact that they're a wounded team, and that's something to keep in mind. So it'll be interesting to see if Seattle can take advantage of that. But you know what, though? As much as I want to see Seattle upset the Saints and put them out of these playoffs for good, because I am not a New Orleans Saints fan, I'm going to go ahead and pick them in this. I don't pick the Saints at all to win any game. That's just how much I don't like them. But I'm going to pick them in this game. That's because it's only logical. But I am going to be cheering for the Seahawks. I do want to see the Seahawks win this game badly. Badly. I do want to see them upset the Saints. So I'm going to be cheering for the Seahawks. I hope they win this game. But I just feel that New Orleans is just too experienced. And their defense is just going to be too good. And I think that Drew Brees, being the great quarterback that he is, he's going to find a way to get the ball to his receivers and score, and they're going to win this game. So, but yeah, I'm going to be rooting for the Seahawks, though. I really want them to win this game, but I think New Orleans, in the end, will come out and edge this game. So, yeah, there it is. That's my NFC portion of the wild card. I hope you guys enjoy the games this weekend. Um,